The human mind is incredibly complex, and sometimes things can go wrong in the most unusual ways. While common mental health conditions like depression and anxiety affect millions, there exist rare and bewildering disorders that challenge our understanding of consciousness, identity, and perception. Stay till the end for the most fascinating disorder that still baffles neurologists today. And if you're intrigued by the mysteries of the human mind, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more mind-expanding content. Let's explore the top 10 most strange but true mental disorders. 10. Cotard syndrome, walking corpse syndrome. Cotard syndrome causes people to believe they are dead or don't exist, despite being alive. In severe cases, they may stop eating, thinking their body doesn't need food. Brain imaging shows abnormal activity in regions involved in emotion and facial recognition. It often follows trauma or occurs with conditions like depression or schizophrenia. 9. Foreign accent syndrome. After suffering a stroke, brain injury, or severe migraine, some patients wake up speaking their native language with an entirely different accent that they've never been exposed to. Perhaps most astonishing is that linguistic analysis confirms these aren't random speech changes. They consistently match specific accent patterns from languages the patient has never studied or encountered. The most documented case is of an English woman who, after a stroke, began speaking with what neurologists confirmed was an authentic-sounding French accent, despite never having visited France or studied the language. What makes this disorder particularly fascinating is that it reveals how speech production involves incredibly precise muscle coordination patterns that can be selectively damaged while leaving language comprehension intact. Brain imaging shows damage typically occurs in the left hemisphere's speech motor control areas, altering timing, intonation, and stress patterns in ways that coincidentally match foreign accent features. 8. Capgras delusion. Capgras syndrome causes people to believe a close family member has been replaced by an identical impostor. Despite recognizing their loved one's face, the emotional connection is missing. Neuroscience suggests this happens due to a disconnect between the visual recognition and emotional response areas of the brain. Remarkably, patients usually have no other cognitive issues. One case involved a man who thought his wife was replaced by multiple imposters, keeping detailed logs of supposed differences. 7. Alien hand syndrome. In this rare neurological disorder, a person's hand moves without their control, performing actions against their will, like unbuttoning shirts or grabbing food. Known as anarchic hand, it often occurs after brain surgery or damage. This condition highlights how different brain systems control movement initiation and the sense of ownership over body parts. Brain imaging shows abnormal activity in areas like the supplementary motor area and corpus callosum, revealing a disconnect between intention and action pathways. 6. Clinical lycanthropy. In this rare psychiatric condition, individuals believe they have transformed into animals, commonly wolves, or other creatures. They report not only visual hallucinations, but also sensory experiences like feeling fur growing or bones changing shape. Often linked to psychiatric conditions like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, the disorder affects body identity and perception. Neuroimaging shows abnormal activity in areas like the right parietal cortex. One case involved a woman who would growl and crouch, believing she was a wolf, but still recognized her family and used human language. 5. Apotemnophilia, body integrity identity disorder. Individuals with this rare condition feel a strong desire to amputate healthy limbs, believing they don't belong to their body, despite normal function and sensation. They describe the limb as overcomplete or not mine. This disorder is particularly troubling because patients are often rational and aware of the oddity of their desire, but cannot shake the feeling. Brain imaging shows abnormal activity in the right superior parietal lobule, which helps construct our body map. Some sufferers even resort to self-harm in desperate attempts to relieve their distress. 4. Reduplicative paramnesia. In reduplicative paramnesia, patients believe a place has been duplicated, existing in two locations at once. For example, a hospitalized patient may insist that the hospital is also perfectly replicated in their hometown, These delusions are often elaborate, with patients offering detailed explanations. The condition usually follows damage to the right hemisphere, particularly areas involved in spatial processing and reality monitoring. This disorder reveals how our brain separates systems for recognizing physical features and mapping locations. One case involved a war veteran who believed his hospital room existed both in the hospital and his family home. 3. Fregoli delusion. The opposite of Capgras syndrome. Sufferers of Fregoli delusion believe that different people are actually the same person changing disguises or appearances. Patients might become convinced that various strangers encountered throughout their day are all the same individual wearing elaborate disguises or masks to follow and monitor them. Named after an Italian actor famous for his ability to make quick costume changes, this rare condition offers fascinating insights into facial recognition systems in the brain. What makes Fregoli particularly disturbing for patients is the profound paranoia it generates. The belief that they're constantly being watched by a single persecutor skilled enough to transform into anyone. Neuroimaging studies point to hyperconnectivity between face recognition areas and emotional processing regions, essentially creating excessive familiarity signals. One documented case involved a woman who believed her former fiancé was disguising himself as various hospital staff, fellow patients, and even television personalities, all to maintain surveillance of her activities. 2. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Named after Lewis Carroll's famous novel, this neurological condition causes distortions in visual perception, where objects appear dramatically smaller, micropsia, or larger, macropsia, than they actually are. Sufferers may perceive parts of their own body as disproportionately tiny or enormous, or experience profound distortions in their sense of time passing. What makes this condition particularly fascinating is evidence suggesting that Lewis Carroll himself may have experienced these symptoms due to migraine auras, potentially inspiring the scenes where Alice grows and shrinks. The syndrome most commonly affects children and typically resolves with age, though episodes can be triggered in adults by migraines, epilepsy, brain tumors, or psychoactive drug use. Functional MRI studies show abnormal blood flow in the visual cortex and parietal temporal occipital junction during episodes. One remarkable aspect is how the condition selectively impacts visual perception while leaving cognitive functions intact. Patients recognize the impossibility of what they're seeing despite being unable to correct the perception. 1. Cotard's dissolution. The most fascinating disorder that still baffles neurologists today is an extreme variant of Cotard syndrome, sometimes called Cotard's dissolution. In this extraordinary condition, patients believe not only that they're dead, but that the entire world has ceased to exist. They experience the ultimate nihilistic delusion that nothing remains real, including themselves, other people, or the physical universe. What makes this disorder particularly profound is how it represents the complete breakdown of the brain's reality testing mechanisms, while leaving intellectual functions largely intact. What do you think about our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.